welcome back to another episode of the Buffalo Happy Hour. Mike, what's going on?
Derek, I found my new favorite spot in Buffalo.
Right? Like you walk in and it's so sick. It's the first thing that I said as soon as I walked in.
Driving up, I was like, okay, I'm approaching it, like the blue line's coming to an end, and then I'm looking around and I'm like, that has to be it.
Thanks, fellas.
It's amazing.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, this is sweet.
So do you want to introduce yourself if you have a title per se?
I'm Bryan,
Yeah.
chef owner, Black Iron Bystro, now in Kenmore. So we had a location in Blaisdell for about 9 years, and during the pandemic, a lot of changes happened. I live up this way, so I wanted to be closer to home, and I landed here.
That's a power move. How did that work? Where you're just like, I'm sick of the 16, 20-minute drive in winter, and I'm just going to find a place that fits?
Probably longer than that, right?
No, he was spot on. About 20
Oh, yeah?
minutes, like 20 minutes to everywhere.
That's
in
true. Good
Buffalo.
point.
So
Took me 30 minutes to get here today.
But, it was a group effort between, my father helped me with a lot of different, the moves and the logistics in obtaining this building, which he did, and just the transition. I mean, it was a family effort. It's a group effort. And let's see. I mean, there was a ton of different factors as to why. So, yeah, one is the travel. Two is I kind of downsized a little bit, a little slightly different model than my previous place.
Sure.
So I needed to be like close to home. I needed to be like right around the corner because I didn't have I wasn't going to have like more, even though I had a small crew at my last spot, I have less people now, so, and the approach wasn't even about having other people around. It was about like building a spot that I could run essentially by myself with like another person, just a place to host people and host events. And and that's what we're doing.
So when did you start that place in Hamburg?
So I started that in 2014.
Okay. What were you doing before?
Yeah, what's your story? Where'd you come from? Did you go to school for culinary? Where you live?
All right, easy. Let him answer the first question.
Buffalo, born, raised, and I kind of bounced around a bunch. So I spent like the first 10 to 12 years cooking in a kitchen, Kayla's kitchen in Derby.
Sure.
Did a lot of catering, a ton of catering, and ran a diner, and then ran another like satellite diner down the road from there. And that's where I, cut my teeth working with a couple. Actually, there a lot of people came from that location that went. I mean, there's, one of the head guys at Delaware North was from Kayla's, culinary instructor out in Medina came from Kayla's.
Wow.
Another business owner, caterer, well known in the area.
Why do you think that is?
Just we were all taught like great fundamentals.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
And everyone that worked there was like we're all grinders and yeah.
So it's just the environment of that place that kind of cultivated that mindset.
Absolutely.
That's sweet.
That's
Good-
really cool.
Good fundamentals, like real Buffalo, blue collar kind of, like I said, grinders, and that breeds success after a while if you stick to it. And I think the record shows with a lot of people in the restaurant industry, most people end up sticking to it, whether they drag their feet through the process or they grind their way through.
Sure.
And the grinders, are now the influencers.
So how did that roll into, you said your model changed. So what was it, and then what is it now? For those that have never been to either establishment.
Well, there was like one step in between. So right before I opened the bistro in Blaisdell, I worked at a cocktail bar in Buffalo, probably like the first cocktail bar that was doing like, off the cuff of the classics, Vera Pizzeria.
Oh, yeah.
So I was there like the first 3 years that they were opened. And I saw then my mindset changed about what I was going to do because, the place I was going to open was going to be more along lines of like soup, sandwiches, coffee, beer, wine. And then my mindset changed. I saw a whole different culture, saw a different demographic. And I went for more cocktail-oriented cuisine et cetera, et cetera. So I did that in Blaisdell, and just like any, I guess, typical bar restaurant, we have bar service, restaurant service, open late ish, kind of thing. And then fast forward to now, so still has obviously like my flair, but it's a different program because what I do now is like it's more like catering. It's prefix dinners.
Yeah.
So people come. I call it unknown dinner club or dinner club or prefix dinners, whatever you want to call it. The unknown dinner club thing is my kind of catch on it because there's no like posting of what the menu's going to be. So people just kind of show up and it's unknown as to what we're going to have.
Do people post like their allergies or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's in the portal for reservations, they're prompted to let me know about any dietary restrictions, allergies, all that stuff. And by all means, someone could just, lie and tell me, I don't, I'm allergic to onions.
Sure. Yeah.
And I won't put onions on your food.
That's an interesting concept, though, because, I mean, I'm sure from your standpoint, that's more fun to be creative that way, right? And, like, what's the feedback that you get from a customer that you just bring out a food and you're like, this is what we're eating tonight, have fun?
Well, I think it's a circular situation, so I think that, I'm fortunate enough where people, a good majority of people have given me the license to do what I want, and they trust me. And the reciprocation there is that they walk away with a great experience. So, I mean, it's worked out up to this point, and I don't see that changing. I don't know. I also have been, cooking for people, under my name for, 9 years, and I built a clientele. So I'd like to think that, I built enough of a reputation where people can stick their feet in.
Sure.
It's not like a total, like, who's this guy? I've kind of been around, and they can look back at a history of the type of food that I make, whatever you want to consider that. I'm not quite sure. It's somewhere between, a Mediterranean, Middle Eastern twist. And of course, there's always like flavors that like pop out, like Southeast Asian, ingredients and things like that. But for the most part, pretty typically Mediterranean meets Middle Eastern. Yeah.
Do you, with that whole process, the dinner club, does it come with an option for a drink? Are you doing any pairings when it comes to that or no?
Yeah, of course. I'm so sorry. So
You're going to apologize.
you're right. I'm not sorry.
Yeah. Screw you, man.
So the prefix is, there's a pairing with the prefix. So 4 courses with beverages, $100 a head. That's the bag.
That's so cool.
And then there's, we've had a huge influx of people that don't drink, and I totally respect that. I really don't drink that much anymore myself. And so, we have a myriad of, it depending on what I'm cooking, the bar staff, they'll make some mocktails.
Sure.
And pair it properly. So it's definitely, and they're definitely not throwaways. It's not like, well, for one, I just don't have products like Coke or Pepsi.
Sure.
We don't have those things. So we have to create those things anyway for someone that's drinking a non-alcoholic beverage.
Yeah, because you're not really coming here to grab can I get chicken and a Pepsi? Like, that's not what you're coming here for.
That's right, yeah. It's just like, same goes with beer. We have some delicious beers that I can get behind for sure, but we don't have a ton of beer. That's just because, that's kind of like the whole motif here is like, you're coming here for this, there's something else. I mean, like, I have a lot of neighbors that have those things, in this area in particular, so it's...
Yeah, I mean, this stretch of Delaware is almost insane.
It's growing very quickly.
It is,
and
and
I like it.
It's shoulder to shoulder of restaurants and options, and there's like beer places everywhere. I mean, Kenmore has just exploded with food options, and most people don't even know of it yet because they're still fixated on like the Boom and Hurdle or
Sure.
what's happening on Elmwood, and it's just like, yeah,
Rightfully so too. But
but
yeah,
but it's like,
gonna
guys,
spill
Delaware's
over.
booming.
Yeah.
It's wild.
But the cool thing about what you're doing is it lets you control their experience, because if you offer like regular off the shelf like Coke or Labatt or something like that, not sponsored, but if you offer stuff like that, then they're going to gravitate towards that because they don't know, they've never had a Scotch ale before. But you're sitting here and you're going to be like, this is the dish that we're going to have. It goes well with this. And quite frankly, you don't really have that many other options because I want you to try something new. I want you to experience this with me. And to me, that's sweet.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that like really like takes me back to my roots, Vincent Kayla will tell you to run it dry. And, you know, I bring product in, product goes out, it goes into the bellies and the mouths, and the next week I get to bring in all new products.
Yeah, so walk us through a week here. What does that look like?
Yeah, how does that work with prep in the back, especially because of how this whole business model is?
Yeah.
So we're open Wednesday through Saturday. So that gives me 3 days to get it together. So Sunday, it's for me, my mind, my body. And Monday, I hit the books. You know, I typically will already have an idea as to what direction I'm going to go, whether I'm going to ride the coattails of the week before, or just tweak it a little bit, or if I'm going to just change it up altogether. So that's like my Monday is my research. Tuesday, I have to place orders and search for products, what's available, and that's what it's all about. Like, you know, a lot of times locally sourced, but for the most part, it's just responsibly sourced,
Sure.
right? So
That's huge.
I'm not gonna like force a situation. You know what I mean? As much as I'd love to have whatever is hot in season at the moment, if it's not accessible to me on Tuesday evening, Wednesday morning, I'm not gonna force a situation.
Sure.
We'll live to die another day on that one. You know, get it next week, whatever. My menu changes every week, so whatever.
Sure. So when somebody's looking to come here for a reservation, when do they know about the menu? Is it Tuesday?
No, they know about it when they sit when the food hits.
Oh, that's right.
The table. Yeah, so they don't know.
That's so cool.
I do post. So I have a bar. I have bar offerings, like basically small plates, and those are not throwaways. They're all like, you know, something that I want to get behind and be the face of the place. So that bar menu and those small plates, I post that at the beginning of the week. And that's on the website posted clearly with the cocktail menu.
Those change too?
Yeah, and those change too. Yeah.
Wow.
Dude,
But I mean, I wouldn't say like I for the most part, like, you know, I've been open here for about 4 weeks now, and you know, it's just been tweaked a little bit here and there.
Sure.
Basically, pork belly's been on the menu every day. Hummus has been on the menu every day. Just the prep for those items has changed.
Yeah, because you're doing your back end prep, like food prep, all Tuesday, in lieu of Wednesday, right? And then Wednesday you're doing it for Thursday. Like, how many people do you have? I'm fascinated by this whole setup.
So yeah, it's just I have a sous chef.
Okay.
Myself. I have a bar manager, and I have a floor manager / wine curator, right? And he handles a majority of just the organization, the general management. And we're very much a circular team. So the front of house will often be in the back asking what they could do if they're, you know,
Sure.
all wrapped up, and vice versa. We're, you know, helping make tinctures and, you know, syrups and whatnot for the bar.
And how many total people, say like there's no more reservations, full house, how many people can you seat for a dinner on a Wednesday night?
So it's the room sits comfortably, like, depending on the size of those parties, between 16 and 20.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a very intimate setting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
If you
it's still a
can't-
lot of food.
Yeah, if you can't get it from the camera angle, like this is a very loungy, intimate setting, which that's clearly what you were going for. when you-
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
So if someone's walking down Delaware and they pass a bar or something like that, can they come in here and come for a drink, or is this reservation only?
Oh no, certainly. Yeah, no. So the door is always open. So it is tight, and people just learn, just like any place. People learn the habits of an establishment.
Mm-hmm.
So, rookie move. Let's just pop into a place at 7:00. If it's a small place, you might have a hard time.
Sure.
You might not, but
You'll learn.
What can I say?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's very open to just walk in, and we have, like I said, so we have a bar that seats about 9 to 10 people. That's open to just walk in.
Mm-hmm.
We have a bar menu, plenty of cocktails and wine, and then we have a dining room that seats, it has like 8 tables, and it seats between 16 and 18 people, like I said. Now, if one of those tables is vacant during one of my services, I will certainly use that for any walk-ins that can't fit at the bar. They can certainly sit in the dining area,
Sure.
which is like a lounge, essentially.
But you're not able to have one of your dinners, right? Because you probably prep for the reservations.
Yeah, I prep for, we've even tweaked that slightly as the model has lived.
Mm-hmm.
And I've taken reservations 10 minutes before the
Sure.
start. That's not a problem typically.
Yeah. So are people, when they make a reservation, are they prompted to pay at that time for this whole business model of you're coming in, you're reserving a spot that I'm literally cooking for you? Do they have to pay beforehand?
No, it's free reservation.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so we're going by the honor system with that. So when I started this concept, shortly after we were allowed to reopen from the pandemic, it was just kind of like myself and sometimes 2 of my older employees, and from my past establishment, where basically that's what I started doing. I was like, well, a lot of places were closing because they had a hard time hiring people, and I just thought outside of that realm. Instead of trying to force people to come to work, I'm gonna work, so
Sure.
And here's what I could do. So I just started booking dinners. Like, I was doing pop-ups at my own restaurant. So my restaurant was essentially closed in Blaisdell, but I was doing pop-ups in my own building.
Oh, okay.
Because I could do that, I was allowed to do that.
Sure.
I have licenses to serve and all that. So, and I can cook, and I can serve and cook for, around 15, 16 people. That's not an issue, especially if I have someone helping me sling drinks.
Sure.
No issues.
That's amazing.
So I did that, and that was a prepaid experience, and I was just invoicing people, and it was all like, premeditated, So like, I'm having a dinner on this date, and people would sign up, and that changed a couple times what I would do, whether I would advertise the meal. I stopped advertising the meals because, quite frankly, some people would I was like, all right, I'm going to post what I'm going to cook for this week on Monday. And then people would go on Monday and they would look and they go, well, maybe next week.
Sure.
Because there's the one thing I'm just not sure about. But I've never fed anyone anything that they didn't like. And there's been quite a few people that have tried things that they normally certainly would not order, that I've kind of flipped them on that situation. That being said, I certainly don't I'm not sticking head cheese or escargot in front of everyone here. I love these things, but I wouldn't assume that
Sure.
everyone's going to because I made it.
Right. Yeah.
Nah, that ain't gonna fly. You know what I mean? So there is a bridge. You know what I mean? There is a bridge to create for these folks.
That's a really cool name to build your personal reputation. I know that's not there's no selfishness behind it, but that's a cool way for you to build your reputation, to be like, listen, you're going to come here, you're going to trust me with your food, your drink, your experience, and you're going to have a good time. It's just really sweet.
Well, and again, I can certainly fall back on the fact that I know that I'm not going to serve something that someone's going to, oh, hell no.
Sure.
You know? So I definitely like, and I've experienced some of that even where I thought that, you know, it's okay still, like whether it's, typically it's with like fish, like crudo, like raw fish. There's just some people that just can't get over the whatever it is. It's, you know, typically it's the texture. Yeah. And that's, so I've just, you know, it's not that I've given up, but now with the room that I have, the model that I have altogether, so I have 2 businesses in one, essentially. I have that, and I can still do crudo. It's on the bar menu.
Sure.
I still do, you know, things like that. And then people can peep over there, and I've had plenty of customers that have gone through the whole dinner experience and hung out for drinks after and had one of those a little bit more off the wall small plates from the bar.
That's sweet. What was this place before?
This place? This place, what? You mean right before?
Yeah, like right before, like when you came in, what did you have to do to make this your home?
because there's no way it looked like this.
Yeah, no.
I was just gutted.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we had to gut it. So it was like originally this, well, not originally, but like, you know, at one point this was like the first Holshers.
No kidding.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
So there was like
Holscher
a,
meats,
you
man.
love Holshers,
Yeah.
man. You
I
talk
know.
about it all the time.
I know. I love
and then
Holshers.
a local fella ran a deli out of here shortly after they left or whatever. I'm not
Okay.
even sure the story, but I know there was another deli under another name here. And, you know, there was just a gigantic, this whole space was,
A cooler.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Huge walk-in cooler, walk-in freezer behind that.
Because Holshers is still in Hamburg.
Yeah.
On camp.
Camp,
Yeah.
Buffalo. Yeah.
Yeah, right by Fuller's Chocolates. Yeah, I mean, they got I could talk for days. So that's sweet. So this whole place was gutted. So we'll stay focused on you. So this whole place was gutted. And then obviously black is the theme, which I'm obsessed with, like the modern black, clean straight line look. I'm obsessed. My wife is not. She can get over it because this is amazing. And when she comes here, she'll be like, I can see it now.
So let me just say, it was like a very scary thought to put black on a wall.
Really?
Yeah, of like everything black. You're just gonna paint everything black. I was like, you know,
Yeah, but it's amazing.
the you're always taught that it's you know, oh, that's gonna close it in, you know, but it really didn't. It did the opposite,
Yeah.
and that's partially because it's everything.
And-
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's free flowing. You still got, you know, the industrial HVAC showing for that extra touch of vibe, but which is like oddly just okayed by everybody
Yeah.
now. Like no matter what the industry is, it's like that's a thing, like whatever. But what's up with the animals? So has anybody made a comment yet?
Yeah, of course.
Other than me, because obviously I
of course.
hunt, but
Yeah.
that's different. But
Well,
has
everyone
anyone
asked me, "Do you hunt?" And I said, "No."
No? Okay.
No, I don't hunt gazelle.
Yeah. So what's the story behind what we have? Like, what are the animals that are here?
Well, that guy, that's sexy. That's a gazelle. I mean, look at that thing.
Right.
I agree.
man.
Ace Ventura would say otherwise, but I agree.
Sure. Yeah. No. And
Lovely room of
I-
death.
That being said, I didn't do it.
Yeah, right.
Right. Right.
I'm honoring the gazelle.
No, that's really cool.
It is. I mean, they're gorgeous animals. Even the wild boar looks good, honestly, because there's some of them are just gnarly looking.
Oh, sure.
They're not appealing at all.
No, and he's, you know,
Yeah.
he's gnarly,
Yeah, it's a good looking Pumbaa.
but he's not, you know, he's not like terrifying. That's for sure.
no, not at all.
I like it.
Was that it? I thought there was a third somewhere.
There is. You just don't see it.
There's a skull up there. Is that what you're talking about?
Oh yeah, there's a ram skull up there. That was from a good friend of mine who's actually opening a cocktail bar next door.
That's amazing.
Oh, sweet.
Nowhere Lounge. My buddy Jason Wood.
I thought Josh Allen dropped that off for you for what we did to them in week 1.
I know. Well, hey doggy. Go Bills.
Go
Yeah,
Bills.
right.
There's the deer from my old spot that I had. He's buried because I didn't. Bruce Hornsby. I didn't.
You named him?
Yeah.
Do these have names?
Bruce Horns.
We haven't settled on the names for these guys yet. I think we got Gazelle Maxwell.
Nice.
Bruce
it.
Hornsby is in storage at the moment, but he'll make an appearance, I'm sure, at some point.
I love this.
And I don't know about the oinker.
Oh,
This is an awesome spot.
Thanks, man.
so what the reason to bring these in here is just like that aesthetic touch.
It's just, yeah, it's that the mystique.
Yeah.
It's different too.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody else that's done this in Buffalo.
You know, I learned from my last spot, you know, like less is more, you know, and I just didn't want to clutter the place, but you can't have bare walls, and you want to make a statement. You want to, you know, what is the statement? Does that matter?
Right.
I mean, it's whatever you want it to be.
Fair.
It's whatever the viewer, you know.
Yeah. So when you were starting to open this place, was there any reservation on your end? Like, were you nervous that people weren't going to grasp onto this concept?
No, partially because I was already doing it.
Sure.
So for about a year and a half, 2 years almost, I was doing this on a pop-up basis at my old location, which then transitioned into basically like a private chef situation where once, you know, I was trying to close out, I was doing the transition. I was gutting this place, slowly packing stuff up at the other place, still operating kind of. And then I started just focusing on going to people and then just going to people's homes and cooking for them there and doing the same exact experience at people's homes. I mean, people hire a private chef. I mean, I didn't have it myself, but again, that's kind of based on the clientele that I've built.
Sure.
People they didn't call Bryan up to be like, you know, hey, can you make me, I don't know, what's the
Chicken parm.
chicken and ham thing?
Well, the cordon bleu. Yeah, chicken cordon bleu is what you're talking
You
about.
like that? The chef is like,
it's
what's
all
the
right.
chicken and ham thing?
Yeah, right.
That's amazing.
Whatever.
It's not on the menu, folks. Sorry to disappoint. So where did the name come from? Black Iron Bystro.
A good friend of mine, one of my best friends, my buddy John Snexer.
Shout out.
Yeah, of course. Great artist and human and teacher. I originally had another name. This is before I opened my first location, and my corporate name is Rust Belt Bistro Incorporated. And another place opened up down the road in Blaisdell called the Rust Belt. Without knowing, obviously, that there was another place in the area, I went to them, was like, "Hey, man, you know, here's my card."
Sure.
And they're like, "Well, here's our liquor license."
Right. Yeah. Sorry.
And it was like, all right. You know, whatever. I basically, long story short, I had to pick a different name because I wasn't going to try to force the situation. I think it was just laying on the floor at the old place. I built these chandeliers out of black iron, out of, you know, gas line.
Sure.
So I have all these chandeliers hanging in that building built out of black iron. So, you know, was thinking of names. Bistro, used the address, Bistro 3067, Bistro, whatever. And then, you know, John's like, what about Black Iron? You know, Black Iron Bistro.
So
And then it just immediately was like, yep, that's it.
yeah, the environment fit the name.
It did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then so from there, I just kind of, you know, and that's the brand, right? So once you create a brand, you just go where the story takes you. You know, and there it was a very like industrial looking setup, and which was, you know, the marriage was well for the area, you know, as far as the brand, you know, Black Iron Bystro in Blaisdell, an old railroad town, you know, very blue collar, the beginning of industry in Buffalo. So, you know, you just create those narratives. And then, you know, just move the narrative along.
Sure.
How did you source everything in here? I mean, these chairs are like ridiculously comfortable, but like, where do you find these pieces?
The internet. Just where everything comes from now.
That's fair.
Wild.
Yeah, but like, are there like connections that you have with certain people in the area that have like helped you with certain things? Like,
So the dude that built the banquette here, this huge wraparound banquette, that these chairs look very similar to. So basically, I was looking for something that matched that. So the guy that built these, brilliant company. It's a local company called Jay's Furniture, and I didn't know about them. A lot of people don't know about them. I think they build most of their furniture for like casinos in Vegas and shit. So
Wow.
they ship out. They basically are shipping stuff out most of the time.
That's amazing.
Freight. And I walked in the place. I mean, it's huge production. Very cool. And it's literally like right down the street here. So
Oh, that's cool.
anyway, the owner there, super savvy dude, and I basically just told him what I was looking for. So obviously, these are like easy peasy things for him to put together. The thing that I thought was really unique about the process was I got to kind of pick how it felt, and so this is like there's like a marriage here of like, you need to like be sitting at a table to eat, so you need that.
Yeah.
But I wanted a lounge, and the lounge banquettes that they create are like, too much of a slump, and it would be uncomfortable to eat. And he was able to basically go in between that. So it's really cool. So you're very comfortable eating here. You're like, it's a very extremely comfortable seat. And then after dinner, you don't feel like, you get that thing where you're like, all right, we gotta go, we gotta move. You could definitely fall asleep.
Did you said he's savvy, and you've reached a certain level of like just tier of human being within their field when you talk to him, and he's just like, got it. And that's all they respond with, and you're like, what? And then all of a sudden it like just materializes and it's dead on, and you're like, how did you know? And he's like, dude, I got you. Like, I know exactly what you're talking about. I get it.
Yeah.
It's like you're talking to me like I have an IQ of 7, and you're just light years ahead of where I am right now. Like, that's just unbelievable to deal with, and it's really cool that he's local.
And I was
And he knocked it out of the park.
I felt super fortunate to be part of
The whole thing.
his process.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember walking through his warehouse, and he was talking to me about what they were working on for me, and in between he would stop to talk to someone and show them how to like staple something a little bit more properly than they were. And he was giving people like direction, so he's like constantly multitasking.
Wow.
And, like it was really cool. It was very special.
Did you want to open your location on Delaware, or did this place just kind of come up and you're like, that looks right?
This was a location that was suggested to me by my father, who, again, over the pandemic and what was happening in our industry and stuff, I kept that dialogue open with him. Very fortunate to have him and my, the support of him, my parents in my life. And so I'd always go to him and just kind of vent about how things are going, good, bad, what I, throw stupid, off the cuff dreams, and, what I thought I wanted to do. I wanted a smaller place so I could continue doing this this like prefix dinner thing. I think that's something that I can get behind. I didn't want to be the chef in a restaurant that was typical, or even typical for me anymore. And I didn't want to manage a restaurant. I didn't want to do anything, but I wanted to do this. This is what I wanted to cook in and manage and do. So I was looking for a smaller place, and I was throwing some pretty, I guess looking back, pretty funky ideas. And he was just kind of like, well, why don't you check out, and he just gave me an address, wrote it down. He's like, check this out. I looked at it. I was thinking about it for something. But if it's something that you'd be interested in, so I have a good landlord.
That's sweet.
That's amazing. Did you bring your kitchen equipment from your first spot to here?
No.
So you got all brand new appliances to cook with?
Yeah.
How was that, man? I mean, as a chef, you're probably like, this is amazing. This is a gold mine. You're just like, you're all fired up for like a new stovetop.
It's great, yeah. No, I mean, going into this project was definitely a different experience than the first one. The first one was very much like, whatever I can get my hands on, that's what we have. That's what we're using. This was, what do I want? And that's what I'm going to get.
Is there anything that you won't make? Like, outside of the stuff that you don't think people will buy into, like the escargot and stuff like that, is there anything that you personally won't make?
Chicken cordon bleu?
Yeah. That thing with the chicken and the ham inside.
I don't know. I guess, I mean, you could really dig deep on that, but as far in general, no.
Yeah.
I think I would do just about anything. Yeah.
So you just sit home and you think, what would be a cool dish for somebody to eat?
Well, you know, first of all, there's inspiration comes from all
Sure.
types of different. Whether I experience something at a dinner, or I'm researching something and I stumble upon something else, or it's just a weird little dream I had, like thinking about one thing and then all of a sudden it's going in a different direction. And does that work? Can we do that?
Sure.
Is there agnolotti that is like a pierogi? And then but there's also like the very like business end of it, like very much like utilizing what's on hand,
Sure.
utilizing what's available. So
Yeah, right. Because you can find an amazing recipe, and you're like, "There's no way I'm going to get this
yeah,
ingredient."
Yeah, I don't feel like special ordering and flying
Yeah.
stuff in just to do the thing that I really have
Right.
to do right now. So there's some compromise, certainly.
Do you have a mentor, like a chef mentor, that you kind of like either work with or throw ideas off of, or you just try to like emulate in some ways? Because I know that there's people that, like him and I joke, because we're not on that level at all, and we just speak in Gordon Ramsay voice when we make eggs, because we're just like, I'm probably gonna ruin this egg.
Whatever.
But like, yeah, so we just send each other
hot.
videos. Yeah, pan hot, add oil. But like, do you have anybody that you kind of look up to that's like a Michelin star chef or whatever, and you're like, this dude actually is kind of on the same wavelength with certain things, and I'm just gonna kind of follow him to see if I can like work off of what he's already done?
There's too many to even.
Are there really?
There's too many to even start.
So you're just rocking your own vibe.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I would say that I would put, some, chefs that are very, everyone would know out there. But I would also put some of my closest friends out there as well. Guys that I just pick up the phone, and rap with about what's going on with this place, with other places, with food in general. And I get just as much inspiration out of my friends that I speak with regularly as I do the guys I look up to.
Sure. Do you do, like on Tuesday night or something, make the dish for yourself and make sure it tastes like you envisioned, or do you just run with it because you know what you're doing?
Well, I mean, we're always tasting.
Yeah.
So I would say that I probably never sat down and actually ate whole dish that I've made, but I know what it tastes like.
Yeah.
So I certainly, everyone that's eating my food, I know what they're eating. But at the same time, I don't think I've ever enjoyed one of my own.
That's amazing.
Things.
This is such a cool business model, though. Like, I'm
is.
really glad that we connected, because this is something truly unique that we haven't talked about before.
Never.
I think it's going that way too. I mean, there's other places. As far as our city, I'm not quite sure about. I know that there was there's a place called Bidwell in Allen that was doing prefix dinners, and very successful doing so. I think they're possibly moving to a different location, and then there's just a slew of other places. I mean, we've all kind of done this. A lot of brilliant chefs locally. Whether it's restaurants like Dapper Goose, Waxlight, Marble and Rye, Toutant.
Marble and Rye, don't even get me started, man. I love that place.
Yeah. I mean, Dimmer's he's an awesome dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's one of the guys that I would, bring up in conversation. It's like, just guys, just rapping about shit.
Yeah, just
Right.
savages.
Yeah.
We worked with them, and I mean, me and my wife still talk about when we went there, and that was years ago. And we're like that. I mean, they're amazing. Everything about them is amazing. And then they revamped, and I'm like, now we got to go back because they revamped.
Yeah.
And
Well, anytime you put your heart on the table,
On a plate.
yeah, it's gonna show, and people are gonna follow that.
It says a lot to Buffalo too, because we took pizza, and then you have like Macy's place down the street, and they're just like, we're gonna do this, and they just flip the script. And then you have a place like this where it's like, yeah, it's a bar and a restaurant per se, like maybe on paper, but it's not. Like, we're gonna flip the script a little bit, and we're gonna tailor it specifically into this corner, and then let you experience it, because we can almost guarantee you've never had this before. Or say you go on a trip to New York City and then you see something and you're like, I'm bringing it back. And that's one thing that the whole city is doing, where it's like, we can create this in Buffalo because it doesn't exist yet because we're so far behind. But it's a massive benefit for us, because it's like, dude, no
That's
one's
true.
doing this here.
Yeah.
You know, like nobody's making cocktails like this.
But there are, but again, there are lots of, like, everyone, just because they're not maybe doing it on like as their
A regular.
main
Sure.
business model, almost all of the restaurants in Buffalo that are like chef driven do some type of prefix events or dinners that are scheduled and things like that. My buddy Victor at La Puertas, he does that pretty regular. I mean, that's a regular thing. I don't think I've ever gone into his restaurant and ordered. It's just like I don't have a choice.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Which is that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So I'm cool with that.
I like that. Like, you come here hungry, you won't leave hungry. Who cares what you got? Like, don't worry about a menu.
Yeah.
Like, we got you.
You'll enjoy
Yeah.
it.
Like, you're gonna enjoy it and you're gonna leave full.
Yeah, absolutely. And I haven't done it in a while because just life, but just traveling around to, like, say, especially in New York. In New York, there's just gobs of information to soak up, and yeah, you just, like you said, pick and choose, and you can bring back, and it's and as far as I'm concerned, it's always my way. I certainly never would even think about attempting to do what anyone else is doing, whether it's here, there,
Sure.
wherever. I have my niche. I roll with that.
Yeah. So where can people find more information on you? Are you social media, website?
Yeah. So website's the best. Black Iron Bystro, bistro with the Y.com, and our Instagram is probably the most used. Facebook is whatever it's tagged on, but I don't like it.
Yeah. And it's just Black Iron Bystro on Instagram too?
Black
Believe
Iron,
so?
yeah, Black Iron Bystro, black.iron.bistro. Yeah, I mean, if you search it, you'll
Yeah.
find it.
And your prices are consistent regardless of the menu, or does that change?
That's right. No, it's always the same. It's
Okay.
always $100 a head, and all the details and stuff like that everything is on the website. I mean, right down to talking about food allergies and vegetarian, vegan. I do vegan dinners. I do vegetarian dinners. I try to basically I advertise that I do those on special nights, just because it can be difficult to accommodate one table on a Saturday night of a full house of a completely different dinner. However, if it's a reasonable Wednesdays and Thursdays, I'd be on if someone hit me up sent me an email or message, I would 100% take care of that. I would make them their own vegetarian or vegan meal. I will shower them with nut milk.
Perfect.
Love
If
that.
that's not an invitation, I don't know what is.
Literally. You will be taken care of.
Yeah. Well, man, this is awesome. Do you have anything that we didn't talk about that you want to get out there?
No, I mean, I can't. I'm very humbled by the support I've received up to this point, and I'm so very happy that it's funny because I started this place to do something basically on my own. So this was I was gonna do something on my own, just me cooking and bringing it out to people, and I do need a crew to help me a little bit. There's no servers here. There's no hosts. You'll get me coming out and serving.
Oh, wow.
Alongside with my bartender and my floor manager, wine curator. We don't really even have. I feel funny even giving my people these names because they're more than that.
Yeah, right.
And they're fantastic. And I think that anyone that has already been in this room, will testify to that. So just come with open minds, hungry bellies, big hearts.
Love it.
We got you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Go check them out. Check out their website. Really understand what's included, because you're going to get an experience when you come in here down to every little aspect that you're experiencing. So check them out. And thank you so much, man. We appreciate it.
Thanks, fellas.
Thank you.